The August faction incident was an attempted removal of Kim Il-sung from power by leading North Korean figures from the Soviet Korean and Yan'an factions, with support from the Soviet Union and China at the second plenary session of the Third Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea in August 1956. The attempt to remove Kim failed and the participants were arrested and some were executed. Through this political struggle, Kim Il-sung removed all opposition to himself within the Central Party leadership. Kim was summoned to Moscow for 6 weeks in summer 1956 in order to receive a dressing down from Khrushchev, who intended to bring North Korea in line with the new orthodoxy. During Kim's absence, Pak Chang-ok, Cho Chang-ik, and other leading members of the Yan'an faction devised a plan to attack Kim Il-sung at the next plenum of the Central Committee and criticize his leadership methods, and his distortions of socialist legality. Referring to the arbitrary arrests and executions of the last 11 years, Kim Il-sung became aware of the plan upon his return from Moscow and responded by delaying the plenum for a month. When the plenum eventually opened on August 30th, Cho Chang-ik made a speech criticizing Kim Il-sung for concentrating the power of the party and the state in his own hands, as well as criticizing the party line on industrialization, which ignored widespread starvation among the North Korean people. Yun Kong-hum attacked Kim for creating a police regime. Kim's supporters heckled and berated the speakers, drowning them out and destroying their ability to persuade other party members. Kim Il-sung's supporters accused the opposition of being anti-party, and moved to expel Yun from the party. Kim neutralized the attack on him by promising to inaugurate changes and moderate the regime, but never kept the promise. The majority in the committee voted to support him and also voted in favor of expelling Cho and Pak from the Central Committee. A few leaders of the Yan'an faction fled to China to escape the purges that followed the August plenum, and supporters of both the Soviet and Yan'an factions were rounded up. Though Kim To-bong, the leader of the Yan'an faction and nominal president of the country, was not directly involved in the incident, he was purged in 1958, on the grounds of being the mastermind of the plot. Kim To-bong disappeared after his removal from power. He was possibly executed, or died in prison. In September 1956, a joint Soviet-Chinese delegation went to Pyongyang to instruct Kim Il-sung to cease any purge and reinstate the leaders of both the Yan'an and Soviet factions. A second plenum of the Central Committee held on September 23, 1956, officially pardoned the leaders of the August opposition attempt and rehabilitated them. But the purges resumed the next year, and by 1958, the Yan'an faction simply did not exist. Members of the Soviet faction faced increased harassment and decided to return to the Soviet Union. By 1959, more than a quarter of the seats in the Supreme People's Assembly were vacant, and a special by-election was called in July. And in 1961 the only faction left was Kim Il-sung's own guerrilla faction, along with members who had joined the Workers' Party of Korea under Kim Il-sung's leadership and were loyal to him. In the 1961 Central Committee, there were only 2 members of the Soviet faction, 3 members of the Yan'an faction and 3 members of the domestic faction left out of a total Central Committee membership of 68. These individuals were personally loyal to Kim Il-sung and were trusted by him, but by the late 1960s even these individuals were purged. One likely reason for the failure of the Soviet and Yan'an factions to depose Kim Il-sung was the view held by younger members of the party who had joined since the Korean War that the members of these factions were foreigners who influenced by alien powers, while Kim was seen as the legitimate Korean leader. Kim had now completely consolidated his power.